Oh no. I matched the chair. I match the chair. But you are not here for fashion tips, right? I hope not. Okay, so hey, welcome back. This is the third video and I'm pretty excited to share a practical thing for Mason, which if one day I have the time, I would love to make an entire series or videos about things Instagram gets wrong about Charlotte Mason. And the first thing I would dive into is part of today's topic, masterly inactivity. Hey, I'm Autumn and I'm the host of the Commonplace podcast, which if you haven't listened to my episode from last week, it is about Charlotte Mason's third principle, and I think you should listen to it before you watch this video because we're talking about two principles that moms have to hold in tension with one another: authority and docility. And if you don't know about those, the episode will be helpful. But if you have listened and you've popped over here to find out the practical tip, I'm excited to share with you. It's called masterly inactivity. It's something that Mason talks about in the very first few pages of her first volume, Home Education. And it's something that moms love to talk about on Instagram. And yet oftentimes it's wrong. And I love to make fun of Instagram. So first thing you need to know about masculine activity is that it is not about your kids, it is about you. It's something you do, it's not something they do. It's a wise, waiting, watchful way of mothering, by which I mean it's kind of a hands-off approach, but it's not free-range childhood. It's not just letting your kids go and do whatever. There's intention and purpose behind it. In the episode this week, we talked about how for your kids in your home and in your homeschool, it should feel like the rule is do what you want. But really, the rule is do as you're told, which means they have what Mason calls an ordered freedom. So it means within the boundaries, you can kind of do whatever you want, but you know what those boundaries are and you are able to submit yourself to them. You're obedient or you're teachable, which are the other words for docility. Now, Mason says that when you provide an environment for a child that nourishes them in their minds and their hearts and their souls, they will thrive. Like, they will rise to the occasion, they will grow, they will learn, they will exercise the things you've taught them, but they need to have that space in order for it to happen. And that's where she offers this little tool, masterly inactivity, which is really hard for us moms to do. We find that we are in charge of a great many things for our children during the day, and we know we should care about those things, and it's good that we do. But when we think we have to care in the same way about everything, we actually totally misuse our position as mom. We step into authority roles that we shouldn't have. We refuse to do the work that we should because we're too busy doing the work we shouldn't be doing. It gets a little messy. So today what I want to do is actually share 3 ways that masterly inactivity helps moms. Like, it's good for us. Yes, it's good for our children, but it's actually really good for us. And we had a great discussion about this over on Patreon, which I'll link to below. If you'd like to come in, you can see what we talked about, see how we fleshed it out, what kind of examples we were giving, kind of tips back and forth. But I want to say that discussion was awesome and it really helped this video too. So the first thing is that it keeps us from hindering the learning that our children would naturally be doing, and also gives us time and space to go do the real work we need to do. A lot of times for moms, we get hooked into every little thing that's happening around us and think that all of that learning rests on our shoulders, but it actually doesn't. So I have an example for you. If you have trained your children to say they are sorry when they hurt someone, or to practice sharing with a friend when they're playing with them, and then you never give them the chance to go and put that into practice because they've chosen to do so, they're not really going to learn. If you're falling behind them and you're saying, no, remember you have to say it like this, or no, you have to share like this, you're just pushing them around. They're actually not learning anything. You have to give them the space to be free to have the chance to practice what they've learned. And it frees you up to go do the real work you have to do. Now, another example of this is that oftentimes moms feel like they have to validate a learning experience is happening between their kids or with one of their children by speaking into it. For example, my oldest made up a great game with my youngest last week. They were having a blast and I was just watching, and I felt this deep motherly urge to hop in, to be like, wow, you're doing such a good job, or do you see how well that worked, or wow, you're so creative, are you guys just loving your relationship? Like, something to just point out the thing I wanted them to learn. But they didn't need me to do that. I was not necessary in that moment of learning. They were enjoying and delighting in what they had made and with one another, and that was going to teach their hearts a lot more than me shoving my way in there thinking that I had to be a part of it. Because guess what? You don't. The second thing is that you get to practice being the authority, but in a good-natured way. So nothing is worse for a kid than having a stressed out, weary, anxious, nitpicky mom. First off, that mom usually isn't operating out of a position of authority. You're usually trying to grasp for the authority or demand you have the authority, and it pretty much just shows a kid that you don't have it. And secondly, with the good-natured bit, it allows you to practice being the serene Madonna, as Mason would describe it. She notices that the Virgin Mary always looks very calm and happy in photos, or in paintings, not photos, in paintings. She has this like calm spirit, sweet smile, and she says that's what a mother should be like. I am not always like a serene Madonna, but masculine activity kind of gives like a break point during the day. It's something you should practice regularly throughout the day, as is appropriate for your children's ages, what they understand about the boundaries and the habits in your home. But when you let your kids be free, you do have a second to step back, maybe read a book, maybe have a cup of coffee, whatever it is, and make sure that you are a regulated adult in the home who is pursuing the things that nourish your soul as well, so that you can then turn and serve your family. There's a wonderful article in the Parents Review, maybe I'll be able to find the link, I read it a while back, where this woman talks about how the role of the mother is one of like a state of authority who knows that they serve everyone. But in order to be able to serve everyone well, you do have to make sure that you have these little snippets of time during the day where you kind of pull back, reset, and come back in. Which goes to our third point for today. Masterly inactivity is like a hook you can just grab onto during the day. And in those moments, you're able to, as Mason says to do, go outside for a bit, get in the sunshine, read a book. She even talks about taking a short nap, which if anyone can tell me how to do that with one of my children as young as 18 months old, please report back to me. But the idea is that you are a person. You are a born person, just like your children, and you need to make sure that you care for yourself on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. And so masculine activity means that you are not always following your kids around, making sure they're doing everything the exact way you want them to do. You're giving them the ordered freedom they need to go and learn, which is a gift to you because it allows you the time to continue to learn yourself. So I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. We're going to be talking about a wonderful principle that Mason loves from Matthew 18 and 19 in order to learn the limitation to authority and docility, because it's not just that we're the authority in a home, we're actually limited by the character or the will of our children. So we're going to talk about that next time, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.